Hey crafty friends, just putting another Projectlife video. This time I'm using the Kaisercraft Magenta, which is a beautiful pink and etc. I have used the paper pack. I also have absolutely fallen in love with these sticker books. I find they're better than the cutouts because you get 6 design pages, double of each, and these are the sheets that I will be taking my things from. As you can see, there's lots and lots of stickers here. I've got some red ink. I also, from my supplies, have got a couple of butterflies and a round button. Love this, which I've just got from some leftover stuff that I had. I also found, which I quite liked, was some lacy flowers that I had in an older kit, which I'm going to use a few of. So that's basically, oh, and of course my black Nouveau drops. So I've gone through and I've worked out my cutting sheet, which I have got here, and it actually explains all of my cuttings that I will do. Also make sure whenever you get Kaisercraft sheets, they have beautiful words down the bottom. Don't forget that your 12 by 12 finish is just here, so you can cut the bottoms off and you can use all of those words or keep them for other project. So now I'm just going to explain my white cardstocks. This time, as I said, I've got a few outside white pieces because it is quite pink and red. You will see the paper sheets here. We've got a black spot, a floral, and another very busy floral. We have a plainer one which will use some of this as well, but with the grey at the back. This is the sticker sheet that comes with the Kaisercraft. There's a lovely pink, a floral, which we don't use this side and we don't use this side, but we do use both of these sides. With this particular sheet here, I use both sides. This one I use both sides, and this one I use both sides. So it's quite a versatile. As you can tell, it is very, very busy. So I've decided to put white with it rather than black, because the black pieces I will use the black spot that comes with one of these, this sheet here. So I will get on with the cutting to sort of show you what I basically do with my cutting. I'll leave this here for a moment, so if you want to actually just go ahead and do your own cutting, you can actually see what all the measurements are for the mats and etc. I will cut. The first thing I do is I take the bottom off of all of these sheets. So very quickly, just line everything up so that you end up with a 12 by 12 sheet, and put those to one side. That's the first job of the day. Now, all of my coloured sheets, there is no particular pattern consideration that you really need to use with this. Particularly this one, because it runs all over. I cut these sheets, all of the coloured cardstock, into half. It just makes it very much easier when you're doing your cutting, because Projectlife tends to be that size. So I'm just putting my sheets together. We can get rid of this one and get rid of this so I can do my cutting. Okay, so I've actually written on my sheet here the actual names, the candy, flamingo, fuchsia, pomegranate and raspberry, so that you actually know the sheets. Now I'm going to cut my white card first. Now the first white cardstock, you need to cut them into 4 sheets. So you just cut them into a third, which is 4 and 8, and then cut 2 here of your 4x6 mats, and then the bottom strip here, this strip here, you just cut your 4 here of your 3x4s, which will give you your mats. Now the second card of white stock, you need to cut the first cut at 3 3/4. You need to cut the next cut at 4 1/4. Now the first mat that was 3 3/4, you need to turn it the opposite way into your cutter, and you will cut 4 at 2 3/4. So cut 4 of those. And remember to keep these small pieces because we will be doing a lot of matting on small pieces. Now on the back of these in a pencil, I've only got a pen, mark here that these are 3 3/4 by 2 3/4 and keep them in a pile because that will make it easier for you later. Now the next sheet, which should be four and a quarter. Now see, I've got confused. So that would have been, I'm just making sure here that we can have a look. So the first cut was 3 3/4. The next cut was 4 1/4. Okay, here's the next cut, which is the 4 1/4. Now you need to cut 3 of these by 3 3/4. So we know that they are 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. Put those down. Yeah. The last bit that you have, you need to cut them quite differently. You need to cut one at 3 inches. one at 3 3/4. The next one at 3 3/4. So just put those to one side. So there is all our white cards cut, ready to go. Now the next card, which I'm doing here, is called the candy, which of course we have cut already in half at 6. So the first one we need to cut 2 by 4 and a 6. So we cut a 4 because we know that that is 6. So we need 2 of those, which of course are photo mats. And we need one at 5 3/4. So we're chopping off 1/4 of an inch both sides. So that's that one cut. The next candy one, we need 2 by 4 and a 6 again. So 2 by 4 and 6. And then this one here, we need to chop into half, which makes the 3 by 4s. So that was quite painless. So that's the greys cut. The next one that we are doing is the flamingo, which is this one here. So we need to cut 2 by 5 3/4 and 3 3/4. So 3 3/4. Yep, so 3 3/4, 3 3/4. Put them both together by 5 3/4. What that does is, when you're doing a white mat, it's just giving you that little pop of card around, which is what we're doing there. So that's those two. We need 1 by 5 1/2 and a strip of 2 inches. Always keep all your scraps because you never know when you might need them. Put that to one side. Now we get the second sheet, which we need 1 by 4 by 6. And 1 4, so we do 4 inches here by 3 3/4. So put those to one side because with the greys. So we have our grey mats, we have our red. Put your cards to one side. The next one is the fuchsia with the black spot on the back, remembering that we'll be using both sides. So the first half we need, once again, 1 by 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we will do that. 5 3/4. The next mat, you need 4 by 6. So once again, cut your 4 because you know that that's 6. And you need to cut this one into a 2 inch and a 3 1/2. So we need to cut 2 inches by 2 3/4. And the same card, you will be cutting the other one by 3.5 by 1.5. So 3.5 by 1.5. I think I prefer it that way. Once again, make sure you keep all your spare bits. The next one, you want a 4 by 6 into a 2 by 4. And a 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. You can do this as you're going along, but I prefer to do all my cutting and then I can just stick. Okay, the next sheet, you want a 4 by 6. So cut them into 4 by 6s. Now the first 4 by 6, you want 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. The next 4 by 6, you want 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. So we do the 2 1/2 by 1 1/4. Now, I can't remember which bit I used that, so that goes there. And the next one, we just divide into half to make some photo mats. Okay, that's that sheet done. Okay, we're on to the pomegranate now. So you can cut all of these . Cut them into your 4 by 6s. Okay, we need one of these 5 3/4. So we're just taking off 1/4 inch just to make . You need a 4 by 6 into half, which is of course is your 3. The next one you need is 5 1/2 by 3 1/2. And these last 3 you need to cut down to 5 3/4. So once again, we're just taking off 1/4 inch off of those. So that's the cutting of those done. Now we go on to this, the solid grey. Once again, cut 3 4x6s. And one of those cut into half, which is 3x4. The last one, cut a 4x6 again. Put the rest of the card to one side. Now you need to cut this one by 4.5. By 3.25. And then cut another 4x6. And you need that one at 3.5 by 2.5. 2.5 by 3.5. And there we go. Now we have cut all of our sheets here. So there is our cutting diagram. Now I've started laying out my 4x6 mats, but I do have a confession to make. I need to cut the 4x6 card that we cut in half to get this spot here. As we know, that's a 3x4. I also needed another grey for this spot here. So I've gone into my scrap card that was left and I will cut one of the mats from this. Which will give me that mat. Now with these, the grey, we turn that over to give us that colour. We also turn this grey one over to give us that colour. The grey ones here, we actually turn over to give us those, and turn the grey over to give us that one. So this is what your layout, your 4x6 mats will be. What I will do is now I will put the next layer on top. So I'll stop video and I'll layer the next layers, and then you can actually lay your cards on top as well. Now, the second layer of cards, these are the 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, which is the second layer. So they are quite easy to do. So we just layer them up, and as you see, they just have a 1/4 inch around. So we lay those on top of our photo mats. We also have 2 of our 3x4s, which I've just chopped off a little bit to make a little white photo mat on those for our photos. We have another small one which we have on this one. And also the other one goes on this one. We also have a little black spot that goes on this one as well. and this one here belongs on here, so we need to take off 1/4 inch. So that goes on to there. Now this one here has one of these, which is what I'd do now is I'd actually get your inking pad, however you want to work this, and do all your edging. Now the edging is only on the coloured card, so if it's white you don't do it. Just go round the edges, it just gives it a better look, and then actually stick those sheets onto your cards. So go round and do all of these sheets and attach them to your cardstock. When I'm doing Projectlife, I have a piece of cardboard underneath, so I can actually physically move this off my table or whatever I want to do with it. It just makes it very much easier to deal with Projectlife, because you can move it off your desk if you need to do something else. Now I'm going to go and edge all my mats. I'm going to stick them all down, and then we'll do the next layer. Now I've had to do a little bit of fiddling with my white photo mats, so I've actually written the sizes that I've cut the cards down to: 2.5 by 2.5, 3 by 4, 4.25 by 3, 3.25 by 4.25, 3 by 4, 3.5 by 2.5, 2 by 2.5, 4.25 by 3.25, and 3 by 4. Sorry about that. When I was cutting my white stock, I've obviously miscalculated. Now out of my scraps, I've got 2 pieces here which I will be doing some layering with. I also found a piece here for this. So with this card we have the smaller one that goes on here, and then I'm going to be doing some stuff with that. This one here lays on top like so. This one here, we are going to fit this card onto here, and we're going to trim this card down, and I'm going to put some words and things on that one. This card here, I want to actually take 1/2 inch off that card, so that goes here. This one here, this goes onto the edge, and we need to trim 1/2 inch off. So that it just sits inside like so. This card here then will turn over, and this one goes on the top, and of course I'm going to ink all of these down before I stick them down. This particular card here, you've got a 3 by 4 here, which I will need to have, I'll try 1/4 inch off, because I just want a little bit off. And then I would like this particular card here, comes here like so. I'll move this up so you can physically see. Then this 3 by 4, you will have one that is just slightly larger, which makes this pop. This will be going on to here. So this one we need to do exactly the same. That just goes onto here, and I'll show you where it gets stuck. So now, when I was cutting this out, I actually missed a 3 by 4 mat, and this one is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so that your 3 by 4 is matted on that, which will go on here. So you need to find yourself a little bit more white cardstock, and out of your scraps you need to cut yourself a 3 by 4 of this colour, and that will go on there. So this one here we will be sticking on. So now what I want to do now is to go through and ink all my edges. This one goes here, and I want this one to go all the way across, so don't cut this one, and then this one. So go through and do all your edges, and I will stick these down, but I won't stick the photo mats down. I will do that while you're watching, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I have matted that one onto the card. We now need to actually physically stick this down onto the card. So that we are going to stick roughly about here, so it's got some nice borders. This piece here I've cut just slightly smaller. I have actually going to mat that onto a spare piece card. And that will just fit on there. This one here we can't, because I've got some layering underneath to do. These are all stuck down. This particular one here, the 2.5 by 2.5, I've just got enough framing for this. Just quickly, I didn't edge that. So we are going to stick this onto here, and then this will go here, roughly in the middle. This particular Projectlife, I've done a lot of layering. Now this card at the bottom, we have quite a few cards to stick. Now this one will go just on the edge. Okay, so the next sheet you need to lay like this. This black card, you just need to mat it with your black. So that's your 3 by 4. Okay, so that is now matted. We will now stick this down just at the bottom and show like so. We're on to the next card. So this piece of black we need to have just with a little bit of card showing underneath. Once again, we have our 4 1/4 by 3 photo mat. So that just goes onto this card, which I've been very naughty and I haven't. Just quickly edge it. This here is 4 1/2 and 3 1/4, which I want just placed like so. And then your mat goes on top. And now, as you can see, everything now is really starting to look quite good. Now we'll move on to the next side. So on this card here, you can see we've laid our 2 pieces of paper. We are now putting our 3 by 4 photo mat, which I want like so. We have already stuck this one down. This one's stuck. Now this one here, we've taken off 1/4 inch, we've taken off 1/4 inch again, which gives us a little photo mat onto this one. With this bottom card, which is the 2 by 2 1/2, I want to put it on the black, and then I will just give it a little border. And once again, there we have our little card. Now this little card will go here, but I need a strip of colour to tie this in. So we are going to our sticker sheet, and they have a wonderful border here which we can use. So I'm just going to snip off some of this card, lay it towards the top, cut off the excess. Once the excess is cut off, we can then pop this little piece on the top. This card at the top too, I wanted a nice strip across the same, and I want it right the way along. So we will just get a pen I want this not half. I never do anything in half. I always lower it. So then pop this on. And it goes right the way over the card. We can now put our photo mat on, which is the 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And it does. So we're just going to put some tape on this. Now this card here, we are going to stick in the middle. We can then place our photo mat, which is a 3 by 4. Now I want not in the middle, I want it off center. Don't forget, when you're doing Projectlife, you don't need to use a lot of tape because they're all sitting in pockets. It holds everything in place. So you can save yourself a bit of money that way. So there we have our actual cards. Now we can actually start dressing, but you can see how many photographs we are going to fit in this layout. Now, with this type of layout, if you change your papers and change your cards around, it will look completely different. So you can use any papers. Once you've got the layout, you can actually keep the layout and the cutting description, and it makes it very, very easy. Now I've taken from the sticker sheet another piece of this, and I have trimmed off just enough that it will sit underneath. Now I would like this to once again be just layered, so I'm going to snip a tiny piece off. I've edged it already. Put that in the middle. I would like this particular card, which is a 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, so when you put your photograph you'll have a white around it. In the middle I have taken a word sticker which I have edged in white, and I've put dimensional tape at the back. Now this came from the sticker book here, so that needs to go into the center. That card is completely finished. We are now going to work on this card here. Now you remember I actually had some little flowers. I want a flower here. From the stickers, you have plenty of florals to play with. They are really, really lovely. Now I'm going to use this sticker here, and if you will notice, there's hardly any white edging on these. What I did with this is, unfortunately sometimes the leaves are not in the right place, so just take them off and you can pop them wherever you need them to be. Now with this card I have decided I want to dress down the bottom, so just stick that there, but make sure you keep this a little bit up, because this little flower I want to tuck in and over. Remember I said I've got a little button, love this. Any of the sayings you can use. I want to tuck that here. Decided I'm going to move now. Once again, I do like using little butterflies, so I found some in my stock that sort of went, but to really make them, I'm using the red. Once again, if there's ever, particularly cocoa vanilla, they do a lot of sheets with just butterflies on. Always buy a couple of those sheets because over night time you can sit down and you can cut away. Now, I'm going to make sure, put a bit too much tape, I only stick the butterfly 1/2. So that I even might, seeing this butterfly is a wee bit too big, just trim him down a bit. Nobody would be any the wiser. And stick him on, and then your photograph will fit. Now under here, if you want your photograph, what you can actually do, some of this paper, just pop underneath, then you can put your photograph in and then rip your paper out. I do like a little bit of bling, so I found some old red just pop a bit of bling on there, and there you have your next card finished. With this card here, I wanted words. If you have a look on the sticker sheet, you've got here, so I decided to do enjoy the little things in life. So we can actually take this off. Now these go directly now. Once again, from the stickers, I have taken this one here, one of the smalls, and a couple of the leaves. But what I did with these is I just got my ink and I've just gone round, done a bit in the centre, which gives it a bit more oomph. stick that down. Take your white, and pop him down. I wanted a couple of leaves. Like so. I have got my dimensional Nuvo drops, which are in black, and I've just done a centre, a few drops, and done a little centre in this. There we go. And in this one, I do the centre of this one. As well. And now that's that card finished. This card is finished. This card here, I got be your own kind, like you've got a lot of sayings to play with, but I liked be your own kind of beautiful. So what I've done with that, I wanted that to fit into here, so I've cut it as close as I can possibly go. Don't forget to keep all these bits because you never ever know when you might use them. And I've put dimensional tape onto that. And just get that placed inside your card, like so. I then went to the stickers again and I used a couple of small ones here. Just sort of cut them out, give them a quick ink. So once again, if your leaves are in the wrong place, that's fine. And there you have your card done. This card up the top here, I used on this stripe down the side. I then used some of the flags. I just sort of chose some complementary once again, there we go. This card here is what I class as eye candy. I took the sticker from this sheet here. I've just mounted it onto white paper that is going to stick just here. Always try to have one card at least which is full what I class as eye candy. Now with this one, as you can see here, the flowers, if you lay them, it's actually facing the wrong way. So what I did is the rest of the flower, I actually cut the flower off, and rotated it on its axis. So that the flower is actually facing the correct way. Pop your leaf back. Now then, this piece, I then fed it underneath . Here. And just snip to make that round. Like so. Then you can tuck that underneath. I then decided that I'd use this piece like so. That piece went all the way down. I used because this one was red. So just give it a bit of a, nobody would be any the wiser. And there you have your next card finished. I just went through and I did my centers with a few dots. I did my centers in here. To finish it off. And there you have another card finished. Now just move that so I don't put my hands in my Nuvo drops. Now with this one, I took the memory stamp from here, and I'm going to use it as on the top here. Like so. Remember I said to keep your word strips? I want extraordinary from here. Dimensional tape. Now with this one I used one of my little lace flowers, which you can find with all these sort of laces at your Happy, dressmaking store. You find all sorts of wonderful things there. That one gets stuck down there. I used two of these flowers here. Once again, because this is pink, just going to add a little bit of something there. So what I did with that one is I put this one on top. I layered the pink one underneath. I then put my extraordinary over over the top. Nuvo drop in the centre. And there you have one full set of cards. Okay, now we'll go on to the second part of our cards. So this card here is quite easy to do. All you need is your sticker sheet. You need both of these. You also need the white one. And from this sheet, just cut one of those off the actual long line of stickers. So with this one, once again, just did a little bit of a pink with your little dopper. Okay, so we start with this one. I think we've just put here. We put the white one over the top. One here. Oh, we didn't need that one. Okay, now I also want a couple of leaves, which if you want extra leaves, you've got more on the sheet here. A couple of leaves there. From the sheet again, take a couple of little leaves in your top. Nuvo drop your centres. Card done. This card is for a photo mat, so that one is finished. This one here I did as eye candy, and you'll want this sticker here from this sheet. And take the whole lot off. Now, because the leaf is in the wrong spot, once again, I'm just going to take it off and keep it to one side. I also used, once again, another one of these little and that little other flower. So what we are going to do, we are going to put, I'm just going to move that out the way, up into the top. We are going to put this here, put this one here. Decided I'm going to tuck also have got a word to put on there, which is beautiful, which came from this sheet here, which I've just edged in white, and that is going on to that card there. Just do your Nouveau drop for your centre, and you have finished that card there. There we are, 3 cards done already. Now this one, we'll do this one here next, which I liked. A love of a family makes life beautiful, but once again, you've got plenty of sayings that you can use from this sheet. And I want that to just run straight across like that, and I'm just going to put a little bit of flowers here. So from your sheet, there's this little flower, which I'm just going to tuck underneath. And a piece of the flower I cut off, I've just found. I'm just going to pop underneath like so. I need a leaf. And there you have your next card finished with your Nouveau drops. This one here is a photo mat, so we don't have to do this one, that one. This one here, I used the word remember, and to make it similar to the memories over here, I'm just going to very quickly make it like a tab by cutting off the 2 pieces and just pop it onto the top of the card like so. I then went to my sticker sheet once again of the long ones, and I have cut a small one of this, which I'm going to stick on the bottom, and take another one of those, take a couple of leaves, your Nouveau drops on. And there you have that card finished. Okay, now with this top one, we are going to do that one as eye candy. I have one of the large flowers. I was very lucky because I actually managed to find the 2 pieces of lace. There we are. So I'm going to place that over here once again. Best way is to just use your little scalpel and take it off, and then you can just pop it on. Now the little wording, I actually use this one here. Unfortunately with these, you have to peel it off to actually cut it. So then I cut the other one off. Then I replace these back on my sticker sheet. Find yourself some odd white card, because I want to mat that. Once you've done that, that actually gets mounted on your tape. Now you want this particular flower on this sheet. And once again, just once you've done that, that can actually go underneath and sort of on top. Once again. I also, just down here to finish this off, I took from this sheet, I just cut one of these flowers and popped it, tucked it underneath, and there you are. That is that card finish. So now the only card that we have to finish is this top one, which what I did there, I got the sticker sheet and you've got the words "Don't Forget," which is left over, and I used this smile. Now I actually mounted those on some extra leftover card that we had of the hot pink. So cut smile out. Like so. And we are going to mount each of these words onto the pink card separately. Okay, so just cut them out. Just going to move that forward so I don't smudge the rest of my cards. So what I'm going to do here, I want smile, don't forget to smile. I want those with dimensional tape. So I've got my dimensional tape with that. Now I want these couple of flowers, so we can use these. I also used the rest of these as well. So what I did is I just tuck these in here. Put your two here. I also would like something up here, but this butterfly is too big. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a bit of cut him down so he's a lot smaller, so he will actually fit. So then we just give him a bit more pink. I'll sticky tape him. Make sure your tape's not on the side of your photograph. If it is, just roll it and it will unstick. And once you've done that, you only stick it on one side. Okay. And there you have a full set of Projectlife cards completed with only half a pack of kaisercraft paper pack. And also you can actually see how many stickers you still have another set of pages exactly the same as this and what's left on here. So you still have plenty to play with. The only scraps I have left over is this little pile here, including, of course, your words, and that's all that you have left over from half a pack. And of course, you still have all of that as a sticker sheet as well to use. So it is a very economical way of doing Projectlife. And as I said, you could use any other kit, paper pack or whatever to do exactly the same thing and just change it around. Okay, till next time. I may actually repeat this process and I may actually do it with another of the kaisercraft paper packs to just show you the difference next time. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and check back later. Bye for now. Hi, here's finished of the Magenta layout. And as you can see, I've used the same photographs that I've been using now, just for the ease and everything else. Normally my travel ones I use a travel, more travel themed, but as I said, I'm just using these photographs just as a show and tell. As you can tell, this one here, the photograph is a 3x4 and it doesn't quite fit on the thing, so you just have to cut your photograph down just a little bit to actually make it fit. Same with this photograph here. This photograph here, as you can tell, has a small square, so you can just cut your photograph down to fit what you need. Or if you're using Photoshop Publisher or whatever and you do your photographs on an A4 sheet, you can actually make your photographs, measure them up and make them the size of what you physically want your photographs to be. If I was doing this one here, I would make it slightly bigger so that it would tuck underneath your words here. So there we go. There is the finished Projectlife. I haven't done any of my timeline writing. I will do that afterwards. Till next time, thank you. Bye-bye.